Diamond Dave back again after a very long hiatus. Started out pretty strong with these videos and then dropped the ball pretty quick. So I'd like to get back into it. A couple things I want to show you today are some things that really helped me a lot. Pieces to the puzzle that just make things a lot easier. One of them is an alternative sidechaining that I picked up from watching one of those Barely Alive tutorials that they did. They used a plugin called, I think, Sound Shaper by Cable Guys, and they also use LFO Tool with, but they didn't demonstrate using LFO Tool in their video. So that's what I'd like to do today. So definitely check out their video. They go over a lot of the details, why it's an alternative to sidechain compressing. I'm not going to do that. I just want to show you how to do it with the LFO tool. So, anyways, let's play what we got going on here. So I'm using it on the sub bass. With it. It just it's like sidechaining, but a great thing about using a plugin like this is it basically it will take it down to 0, whereas a compressor is just gonna kind of smush the volume down. So that's nice. And also, like the other Sound Shaper plugin, this one's got a kind of a split thing going on too, where so here this bass sound has some kind of mid-rangey and higher frequencies to it. So I got it set here to where it'll leave the top but then just take out the sub where the kick is. So if I turn that up, take it down, so just taking out the bass here. So you kind of dial in it however you want it to sound. Super simple. You can change the curve. I just wanted to duck out with the kick. So you can hear without it, just kind of sounds real sloppy. So that is like a dream. You know, you don't have to make a dummy kick track. You could tailor the curve of it to make it sound exactly how you want. You could change the pattern, which is really cool too. So for instance, if you wanted to put a duck, make it duck for the snare, you just put a MIDI note where the snare is, which is here. For this sound, it's not completely necessary, but say for the mid-range, you could do the kick and the snare to make it duck out. So super helpful tool. Probably changed my life in more ways than I understand at this moment, but it definitely helps tighten things up, not sound so sloppy, and just super easy. And I haven't tried bouncing, or rather freezing with it. I'm not sure if you could freeze it if it's being sidechained too yet, but anyhow, I got it on the groups, so you could still do some processing and freeze tracks, which is nice if you're trying to save CPU. Also, I was happy with the drum sound I got going on here. One is the snare. I'm not doing a whole lot to it. I got some reverb on it using the EMT 140 from Universal Audio. Sounds great. Where do I have it? Love it. And then the kick here. Again with the EMT. Definitely makes it kind of giving that nice kind of punchy kick sound. To make it, I used Metrum, layered some sounds, but then I put it in the Nerve, which I think is what I'm going to start doing now. Kind of get a basic sound going, do some processing, bounce it down, and then dial it in a little bit more. This thing has a nice little, this pitch, kind of pitch curve thing to it. So basically, it's great for kicks that are just kind of like dull. You could basically make it pitch from up to down. So just kind of, so if there's some high frequency on your attack originally, when you pitching it up to down, then it'll make those even higher. So it'll make it like kind of just give it more of attack, and kind of might, if the sub, say if you boosted a bunch at low frequencies, you're just boosting low kind of harmonics, well then you pitch it, then it'll kind of bend that low harmonic and kind of do like a pitch bend down, which just gives it a little bit more punch. So that's great. And it's also got this soft clip, which I don't think I'm using at the moment, if you want to go extra hard with it. So anyways, that's another thing. And then another thing I came up with, I was looking for, a lot of time you could do multi-band processes. You could take like a multi-band compressor, then solo out each band, so that you could then do processes for each. Where did I put it? But I made a thing with, my screen's far away. I can't see it. It's too good. Let's see. I think this is it. So what I did here is used this EQ3 that's in the Ableton stock plugins, and then soloed out low, mid, high. I think the volume's reduced now, but if you were starting your sound design with that, I think I did it like that to give myself some headroom. But anyways, so you just got, so if you wanted to just process your sub frequencies without using, say, a multi-band compressor is very CPU intensive, so you don't necessarily want to use 3, else you're using a lot of CPU for no reason. So this is great that it just lets you use a CPU, or you don't have to use a CPU for something you're not going to use. So that's nice. And another trick that I heard through the grapevine that I think this came from Kill the Noise. I was telling it to Skrillex or something, is the story I heard. And basically, it's one thing that I realized too is I would tend to, if I'm not having bass in my kick, I would want to boost the bass, and then you try to limit it. Well, when you're boosting the low frequencies, it's almost too much low frequency, so it's pushing everything out. And then you're also clipping the tops of the sine wave to make it more of a square wave. And you could get some nice harmonics that way, and it's kind of distorting it. But you're also pushing out the other frequencies, as I understand it, when you're doing that. So what you can do is turn down the bass actually before you limit it or compress it, and that way you're more consolidating the mid and high frequencies. And then after you do that, then you could turn the bass back up. So it kind of, I think, makes for a more denser high and mid range sound to it. So a lot more punch to it by doing it that way. But you're also not compressing the sub. If you turn down the sub, it's not hitting the threshold as it would if you had boosted it before that. So you're kind of, I would think you're maintaining the sine wave, but you're compressing the higher mid frequency. So when you go in and boost back up the low frequencies, you haven't turned it into a square wave, essentially. So it's a nice little tool that I recommend setting up for yourself. That way you could do some multi-band processes using your favorite plugins that are not necessarily multi-band. The other thing is you could also sidechain certain parts if you wanted to, which is kind of nice, or mute parts and things like that. So if you wanted a part of the track with just a tacky part hitting, throw it back in. So that's a neat little tool to have. I think that's about it. So hopefully I'll come up with some more videos. As I learn things, I just want to try to pass them on, because I know it can be tough to kind of put all these pieces together and get inspired. I think for me, my biggest challenge is I want to get something that's vibing. If I'm it's hard to write a song if you're not already vibing off what you have going. So if you start out with a shitty kick drum, then you can't imagine it going well from there. So you gotta kind of get things vibing, and I think kind of creating these presets and things like that just kind of are great tools to speed up that formula, I guess, and create a formula for yourself that is a tried and true tested techniques that are just going to help. So having a good way to sidechain your bass sounds and all this other stuff is just going to make it sound better. So if you can have that set up ahead of time and have it on your template ready to go, then you just throw in some MIDI notes, and then you're ducking the stuff out, and then things will be vibing a lot better right off the bat. So anyways, I hope this is helpful. I'd like to do some more sound design stuff. Still maybe try like another Milo and Otis sound. I was kind of thinking about that a little bit more, and I think the squeaky one everybody's talking about, I think they're using probably a pulse width square. It's kind of what it sounds like to me. So I'll experiment with a little bit with that, and then see what I come up with. If I come up with something good, then I'll share it with you. And also just love to hear some feedback. If you guys got some tips and tricks for me, love to hear it. So anyhow, good luck everybody, and keep at it. See you.